I love movies that force you, the audience, to be a participant rather than just a voyeur, and I think this is one of those films where you jump in, try to get ahead, try to figure out what the heck's going on, and you get that much more involved.
The audience will have to make a decision as they're watching it. What is Tally's motivation when he saves the Smith family and when he puts the boy in jeopardy? Is it really about his family who's been kidnapped, or is it about this family? So there's so many aspects of the film which make it unique.
I like the humanity that they brought to Jeff Talley, to Bruce Willis's character. That was something that I hadn't seen in a lot of Bruce's work before.
He's absolutely what I love to work with, because he loves to improvise, he loves to rehearse, he loves to really talk about the characters and the character's history, and that is so helpful.
There's a particular shot where he sees me close up for the first time, and I spook him, come out of the dark. And I'm only supposed to say 3. He's counting, he doesn't see me, he says 1, 2, and I just boot, basically, 3. And I can't do it. I'm doing it, but I'm terrible. I mean, just awful. Because it's Bruce Willis, and I'm holding a gun on Bruce Willis.
Ready? Yeah. 1, 2,
3. He comes back to me and says, you know what? Take your time. Find it. Play with it. Try different things. And that was the moment when I knew that Bruce was on a different level of, it's not celebrity, it's an actor wanting everybody to do the best that they can and willing to take time to get it right.
I portray Walter Smith in this film. He is the father of 2, wife deceased. At first glance, loving father, wealthy, certainly lives in a beautiful home. And slowly we start to find out more and more about him, about what he does for a living, about who he might work for, and the danger that he's put his family in by working with those people.
Walter, for all his bad dealings, he's lost his wife, thinks that he can just put up fences and stuff like that and keep himself safe from the world. But, in all walks of life, you can't choose your destiny, you can't choose your fate. If there's a bullet with your name on it, it's going to find you. And unfortunately, the bullet in this case comes in the form of, Dennis Morris and Kevin.
The kids were too old in the original script. Morris was around 30, he was like a psycho killer, and the kids were around 25, and I want the kids to be younger. Kevin is 16, Dennis is around 19, and Morris 23, it's low social class. Those 3 kids come from low social class. There is something naive, but there is also something about the violence, of those kids, all lost, a little bit lost.
The relationship between Dennis and Morris, I think, is a one-upmanship from Dennis's perspective. He's I think, somewhat intimidated by his new friend Morris, inspired to top the last move.
Let's just go to the movies. We're gonna go to the movies. But first we're gonna take Danny's car.
No, man. Dennis, this is way worse than any shit you've done before.
We have the mouth, which is Dennis, the conscience is Kevin, and the impulse, which is Morris.
Next time we come, you're going to behave better.
I'm not coming back here.
My daughter Rumor plays my daughter in the film. She's really good at it, really strong, and when she told me she wanted to audition for it, I told her that she would have to, go out and get it herself, and I wasn't going to just, let her have the job. She came in and auditioned for the film's director, Florent Cerie, and she won the part.
I see him with her being a daddy, and of course that totally feeds my character. It's brilliant. If it was just another actress, they would have to create that, and it wouldn't be as real. I mean, there's no way.
Walter Smith's house, in some ways, is a character in the movie.
This house, at the beginning, you think, oh, it's a beautiful house, you know, this guy is very rich, it's beautiful, and you understand why those kids want to enter in this house, because this house is beautiful, you know. But step by step, you understand that it's more a trap. There is a big security system that when you're inside, you cannot get outside, so it becomes difficult for the police outside and for the kid inside, because this house is in between. You are trapped outside and you are trapped inside at the same time.
No. He's back. No, he's back.
We did lots of work. This house is like a giant gobo or cucaloris. The house was built for shadows. I mean, everything that you see in the house has got some kind of thing to shoot through or bounce light through, so you're getting bars and things across people's faces or down entire hallways of stripes.
What they did was build an all-steel house, the interior of an all-steel house, and set it on fire. It was pretty hairy.
Light the walls, please.
Fire's coming from the ceiling, fire's coming out of the walls, walking down hallways, holding a lit Molotov cocktail with fuel in it. By the end of the day, I'm covered in fire gel. There are people in full fire gear, masks, ready to hose you down.
What happens in the end is the whole entire house burns down. That's a wonderful metaphor, because, you know, the whole thing burns down, and then out of the ashes comes Tally's redemption.
Action. I think the most appealing element of Hostage is Florent and his vision and the way he sees the world.
From my experience, which is only 38 years and over 60 films, Florent Serre is one hell of a director. He loves the film noir of the 40s and 50s, so we're taking that, and he also loves the action thriller movies of the 70s. So we're taking that, and he's kind of taking those two along with, let's say, the music video generation of the 21st century, and combining those three, and I think that's what you get. I think that's what you'll see is a very hip, scary, thrilling kind of film.
Film noir, it's the atmosphere of the movie. We work with a lot of shadow, backlight, you know, very mysterious, a tense atmosphere with mysterious character, and it's all about light, shadow, tension. I like to play with the genre in general, so for me it's the definition of this movie. It's a film noir, and it's a thriller, but more psychologist, because it's more about the characters, you know. You have Jeff Talley, the main character, who is lost all the time in this movie, because the first scene, he failed in the first scene, he failed so strong. So it's his redemption, you know, but is lost, and those kids are lost too, and they fight against their own ghosts.
I've hit people harder, and they haven't fallen.
I understand. You're under a lot of pressure in there.
Very interesting how a negotiator first picks up the phone, and the first words to come out of his mouth are what those words are, what he means by them, and what information he's trying to glean from whomever he's speaking to.
Just relax. Relax. We're looking for your wife's boyfriend. I'm gonna find him, all right?
Which one do I shoot first? Do I shoot the whore or do I shoot the whore's boy? Huh?
No, Joe. Nobody wants to hear gunshots in there. You scare us all out here.
Peter Weireeder, who is our technical advisor, was monumentally helpful.
I was a police officer for 22 years here in Los Angeles on the LAPD SWAT team. I've tried to put him in the frame of mind of what it's like to have to negotiate with people, especially people who are unstable, because the ultimate goal is to save everybody, including the suspect, not just the hostages. SWAT's credo throughout the country is that we have a peaceful resolution to everything. I don't care if it's a suspect by himself, barricaded. Our real job is to get him out. We're successful if no one gets hurt. That's what we're for. Whether it's hostage rescue, whether it's a jumper on a roof, somebody who's trying to commit suicide, SWAT's job is to save him. We don't judge him. The last few months I've worked with Florent on the negotiator part of the dialogue.
that the audience can feel that Bruce really is a negotiator, and that the words he's saying and his tone and his tempo in his delivery really has an authenticity to the feel of what it's like to talk to somebody who is totally unstable, and yet we are trying to calm this person down to keep him from doing the worst case scenario.
I'm running this shit. You talk to me.
That's right, Dennis. You are running this shit. Tell me you're the man in charge. That'll be your responsibility. You understand?
Fuck you. Don't try and play me. You get us a helicopter to fly us out of the shit.
Just a local paper pusher, Dennis.
Get me a fucking helicopter before I start shooting people.
Be cool, Dennis. Be cool. Nobody wants to hear guns go off in there. You tell me you didn't shoot my cop? All right, I believe you.
It starts out with being a good listener, finding out that key, something that you can come back to that person and start a dialogue. If you can't get an opening dialogue with the person, and he elicits some clues from him, as well as intelligence for the SWAT guys. We're always trying to elicit intelligence. But to get a chance, if you find a common thing to talk about, can lead to you somewhat bonding with that person inside on the other end of the phone or face to face, and getting him to do what we want, to give up, to stop this activity. And that to me is the biggest thing. You have to be a good listener before you can be a good speaker.
You're going to get to know these people. You're going to get to feel the fear. You're going to get to experience the emotional scariness of what they're about to encounter. You are going to see the world when somebody wants something badly enough and they'll kill for it. That reaches a whole other level of humanity.
It looks like just a classic hostage movie where a negotiator's going to go in and try and save the people inside. Those aren't the real hostages. There are a lot of other hostages.
The effective thing about this film is that there are so many levels, and people are coming from so many different places, and it's all colliding into this fortress.